Weak men react, strong men think. Have you ever said something in anger and immediately wished you could take it back? Have you ever made a decision in a moment of panic and watched it destroy everything you worked for? Have you ever let your emotions drive the car while your mind sat helplessly in the back seat? That's not weakness of character. That's not a flaw in your DNA. That is the difference between a man who reacts and a man who thinks. And today, right now, we are going to change which one you are. Stay with me. Because what I'm about to share with you is not a motivational speech. It is a manual. A blueprint. Tested by warriors, kings, and philosophers who lived in a world far more brutal than yours. And it works. Open Book Section 1. The Nature of Reaction. Let's start with the truth that most men never want to hear. The majority of your suffering, not the suffering caused by disease, or poverty, or loss, but the day-to-day suffering, the arguments, the regrets, the self-destruction, most of it is self-inflicted. Not because you're stupid. Not because you're broken. But because you were never taught the difference between a stimulus and a response. Here's what I mean. Something happens. Your boss humiliates you in a meeting. Your partner says something that cuts deep. You get rejected. You get disrespected. You get blindsided. That's the stimulus. And in a fraction of a second, before your rational mind even wakes up, your body has already begun to respond. Heart rate rises. Palms sweat. Jaw tightens. A fire ignites behind your eyes. That is biology. That is the ancient survival machine doing exactly what it was built to do. The problem is, you are not in the jungle anymore. The threat is not a lion. The threat is a difficult conversation. A social situation. A moment of uncertainty. And if you let that ancient machine drive every decision you make, you will spend your entire life putting out fires you yourself started. The Stoics understood this over 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who commanded armies, governed millions, and faced betrayal from his own generals, wrote in his private journal words that echo through centuries. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He wasn't writing that for us. He was writing it for himself. A reminder. A discipline. A daily practice. Because even the most powerful man in the known world had to train himself not to react. If he had to train, so do you. Brain Section 2. What strong men actually do. Now let's talk about the other side. Strong men don't suppress their emotions. That's a myth. That's the toxic version of this conversation that I refuse to give you. Strong men process their emotions. They feel the fire, but they don't become the fire. There is a pause. A breath. A split second of mastery between what happens to you and what you choose to do next. The ancient Greek word for this was prohairesis, the faculty of choice. The one thing no one can ever take from you. Epictetus, a man who was literally born into slavery, who had no freedom, no wealth, no status, built his entire philosophy on this single idea. If someone insults you, they have not harmed you. They have only expressed their own character. If someone takes something from you, your job, your reputation, your relationship, they can only take what was never truly yours to keep. But your choice, how you respond, how you carry yourself, what meaning you assign to what happens, that is yours forever. That is where power lives. Now, what does this look like in practical terms? A weak man gets passed over for a promotion. He spends 3 days in silent rage. He starts performing poorly to get back at his employer. He gossips. He disconnects. He quits and blames everyone around him. A strong man gets passed over for a promotion. He feels the sting. He lets himself feel it, fully, privately. Then he asks one question. What is this showing me that I need to see? Maybe he wasn't as ready as he thought. Maybe that company was never going to value him, and now he knows. Maybe this rejection is the nudge that launches his greatest chapter. He doesn't react. He evaluates. He decides. He moves. That is the difference. High Voltage Section 3: The Biology of Reaction and How to Beat It. Let's go deeper. Because if you understand why you react, you'll find it much easier to stop. When you perceive a threat, emotional, social, or physical, your amygdala fires. This is the part of your brain responsible for fight, flight, or freeze. It is fast. Incredibly fast. And for a brief window, roughly 90 seconds, neurochemicals flood your bloodstream. Cortisol. Adrenaline. Your body prepares for battle. Now here is the critical insight that neuroscientist Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor discovered. The physical sensation of an emotion only lasts about 90 seconds. After that, if you keep feeling it, it's because you chose to keep thinking the thoughts that re-trigger it. Which means the anger that lasts hours? You are feeding it. The anxiety that keeps you up at night? You are watering it. You are not a victim of your emotions beyond that first 90 seconds. You are a gardener, choosing which seeds to keep watering. So what do strong men do in those 90 seconds? They breathe. Consciously. Deliberately. Not because breathing is magic, but because conscious breathing is the fastest way to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. The rest and digest system. The thinking system. When you take a slow, controlled breath in for 4 counts, hold for 4, and exhale for 6 or 8, you are literally hacking your nervous system back to clarity. This is not soft. This is strategic. Navy SEALs use this technique before breaching a hostile building. Surgeons use it before critical operations. Chess grandmasters use it between moves. The most high-performing men in the world don't react faster. They pause smarter. Section 4: The 3 tests before you speak or act. The ancient Stoics had a framework for decision-making that I want to give you today. I call it the 3-gate test. Before you speak, before you act, before you send that message, pass your response through 3 gates. Gate 1: Is it necessary? Does this response serve a real purpose? Or am I just satisfying the urge to be heard, to win, to punish? Unnecessary words are almost always weapons of self-destruction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Most reactive behavior fails Gate 1. Gate 2: Is it just? Is your response fair, not just to yourself, but to the situation as it actually is? Not as your anger is painting it? Weak men see enemies. Strong men see circumstances. Weak men assign malice. Strong men ask about context. Before you accuse, ask. Before you condemn, investigate. Before you burn a bridge, consider whether you'll need to cross it again. Gate 3: Is it yours to carry? This one is powerful. Before you take on a battle, ask whether it belongs to you. Not every conflict is yours to enter. Not every wrong is yours to correct. Not every insult deserves a response. Epictetus said, "Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life." The man who fights every battle exhausts himself, and wins nothing. The man who chooses his battles, carefully, deliberately, becomes someone others fear to challenge. Pass your reactions through these 3 gates. Most of them won't survive. And the world will be better for it. Fire Section 5: The Discipline of the Long Game. Let me paint you 2 pictures. Picture the first man. Every time he's challenged, he rises to the bait. Every slight becomes a war. Every inconvenience becomes a crisis. He burns through relationships, opportunities, and goodwill with the reckless spending of a man who believes there is an unlimited supply. There isn't. At 50, he looks back at a trail of scorched earth and wonders where everyone went. Why his career stalled. Why his children don't call. Why respect feels like something that happened to other men. He reacted his way out of his own life. Picture the second man. He also felt the anger. He also faced the betrayal. He also had moments where the fire in his chest begged to be unleashed. But he learned, slowly, painfully, through practice, to pause. To think. To choose. At 50, People describe him in one word: solid. He is the man others come to in a crisis. The man whose opinion carries weight because it is never given carelessly. The man whose presence in a room changes the temperature, not with volume, but with gravity. He built that. Not through talent. Not through luck. Through the daily, relentless, unglamorous practice of thinking before reacting. This is what the Stoics called ascesis, disciplined practice. Not a one-time decision but a way of life. You don't become a thinker in a moment of inspiration. You become one in the 10,000 moments when reacting was easier, and you chose not to. Compass Section 6, Practical Daily Disciplines. Let me give you something concrete. 5 practices you can start today. The first practice, the morning premeditation. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone, spend 5 minutes asking one question. What might challenge me today, and how do I want to respond? The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. Not to be pessimistic, but to be prepared. A man who has already thought through how he'll handle frustration, rejection, and conflict is far less likely to be hijacked by them. The second practice, the 90-second rule. When you feel the surge, the anger, the panic, the urge to respond immediately, give yourself 90 seconds. Do nothing. Say nothing. Just breathe. Most reactive damage happens in that window. Most of it can be avoided if you simply wait. The third practice, the evening review. Before you sleep, not to judge yourself, but to learn, ask, where did I react when I could have chosen? What would a wiser version of me have done? This is not self-punishment. This is calibration. This is how you close the gap between who you are and who you are becoming. The fourth practice, voluntary discomfort. Once a week, deliberately put yourself in a situation that is uncomfortable but not harmful. Cold water. Fasting. A difficult conversation you've been avoiding. A workout that goes beyond comfort. The man who practices discomfort voluntarily is never ambushed by it involuntarily. The fifth practice, slow your speech. Literally. Talk slower than feels natural. Pause before answering questions. This one simple habit signals to your nervous system that you are not in danger. It creates space between stimulus and response. And it has the added effect of making everything you say carry more weight. People listen differently to a man who speaks as if his words are worth something. I want to leave you with this. Every great man in history, every philosopher, every warrior, every leader who built something that lasted, they all shared one thing. Not intelligence. Not talent. Not even luck. Discipline of mind. The ability to stand in the fire and choose how to respond. That is not something you are born with or without. It is something you build. Brick by brick. Day by day. Choice by choice. You started that building today. Don't stop. Direct address to camera/audience, warm, confident. If this spoke to something inside you, if you felt even one moment of recognition, one shift in how you see yourself or your patterns, then you are already on the path. Subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell. Because this is what we do here. We don't chase hype. We don't sell shortcuts. We go deep into the philosophy, the psychology, and the practical disciplines that separate the man who drifts from the man who decides. Every week, we bring you content that challenges you, elevates you, and sends you back into your life sharper than you came in. If that's the channel you've been looking for, you just found it. Subscribe. Stay. Grow. This is only the beginning.